Burn, 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 burn. I have no idea why I did that, but hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 5 of season 2 of the Intermission series. I am one half of your co host, Corey Davis, your marketing advertising expert, and I'm joined by the wonderful co host, Yesenia Reynoso, who is the best communication and PR guru.
Why, thank you, my friend. It's always nice to be surrounded by outstanding marketing and PR wizards. It's always great to interact with each and every one of you and just feeding off of that positive, outstanding energy. Hello to the Marketer Pitch family. Welcome to episode 5, year 2 of the Intermission series. And Corey, I must say, out of all the introductions you have done, that one was by far the most unorthodox
You
I
know
have
what? This
ever
is
seen.
this is summertime. I'm excited. This has been a great summer so far. And I'm excited really just about the intermission series. I think it's one of the reasons why I look forward to the summertime. Not only do we have baseball, not only do we have barbecues, burgers, but we have the intermission series where Yesenia and I are unfiltered, unlimited, uncensored. We're giving our hot takes on the latest hot topics that are going on right now. We have a juicy one. But before we get into anything this series, I want everyone to go back to our last episode, episode 4, and listen to our Roe v. Wade episode. It was so intense. We talked about a lot of great topics. We went very in depth into how our industry has been shaped by the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and you included in the comment section. So please go and read an article she wrote about the decision. So definitely please take a look back and listen to that previous episode in addition to our other previous episodes. So I'm just very excited about the way the intermission series is going and excited to get into I think something that's kind of breaking over the next week.
Absolutely, Corey. And I just want to again say that both as fellow co-hosts, talking about a timely, relevant issue as Roe v. Wade, one that has fundamentally changed not only our industry but our entire society in general, has definitely, for us taking a step back, visualize and figuring out, what can we as marketing and PR experts do to assist and more importantly to inform a story that basically affects lives. And so if you haven't had the chance to listen to our important conversation, please do so. It is available exclusively on YouTube and Spotify. And don't forget, during this 3 episode run of the intermission series Marketer Pitch Freestyle, it is available again exclusively on YouTube and Spotify. So follow, subscribe, share, comment, and don't forget our previous episodes. Our 2 respective volumes of our general podcast Marketer Pitch is available on all major podcasting mediums. And we also want to, before we dive into our topic for today, to say hello to our Marketer Pitch community out here in the United States and abroad as well. We're so glad for you to be joining us today. And so, Corey, let's not waste any more time. The summer is shining so brightly. And so I think the topic that we got here, I think might definitely be an eye opener to say the least.
Yes, and before we get into that, I really, just a hot take. It's a summertime. A lot of times people are traveling. A lot of times people are just at home on vacations, which means you have time to watch TV and stream things. So, is there a TV show that you're streaming, a hot TV show that you're streaming that you want to share with the viewers or listeners?
Mm, I've just, and it's so ironic that we just kind of gave the sneak peek as to what the topic we're going to be particularly focusing on. But I just uh, finished watching the first 7 episodes of on the only murders in the building.
Yes,
Uh,
on Hulu.
on
Yep.
Hulu. So that has become my new favorite show. I know they just released the 8th episode, so I'll be watching that tonight. And I've also just recently finished watching season 2 of Bridgerton. And getting ready to watch season 4 of Succession, which should be coming out in the fall. And I think I just said the word Succession because the streaming service that it is under, Corey, I think I'm gonna hand it off to you. I think now we can pretty much say is our hot topic for today.
Yeah, to be honest, those are all good shows. And the show that I'm actually very excited in watching is a show called The Rehearsal, which is
Mm-hmm.
on HBO Max. If you haven't checked it out, I would say The Rehearsal is like um, Black Mirror meets Candid Camera. It's
Wow.
a I don't want to give it away, but I would say everyone just it's probably the strangest show I've ever watched, but the most intense, one of the best series I've ever seen in a long time. Um, and it's about people going through tough situations and somebody setting up a rehearsal of exactly what could happen before that actual situation actually happens. Very interesting. Watch it. It's on HBO Max. Just like Succession, and getting to our latest topic, where the hot button is going on right now, especially coming off the 2Q earnings, is everyone knows that HBO, which is owned by Warner Brothers and Discovery Plus, announced a merger last year, and that merger will be official in 2023. And on the heels of that, HBO Max over the past couple of weeks have went through a massive layoff, laying off up to 70% of their employees, and they announced that they're moving away from scripted movies and they're moving away from streaming. the big the big news around that was Batgirl, which is a huge DC Comics movie, was done. I think they spent upwards of $90 million producing. It will be shelved. HBO Max has announced that they're going to minimize redundancies, and they restructure their brand because they want to start offering more unscripted television. So think of more of the 90 Day Fiancés, the Property Brothers, the Chip and Joanna from HGTV that now populates Discovery Plus and does pretty well. HBO Max is saying, hey, we're getting out of the scripted series. We're going to kind of, I think, dilute our brand, and we're going to just focus more on unscripted. Now this is causing to the effect. There's a lot of scripted television right now on HBO Max, like The Flight Attendant,
Mm-hmm.
which has got a lot of rave reviews from Emmys.
Yeah.
Also The Rehearsal, which I'm just saying, speaking of, they're now in jeopardy of being canceled as HBO moves away from this. So Yesenia, like, what's just your hot button take on this? Because I think from a communication standpoint and a marketing standpoint, this rollout has been completely trash. Like David, and I'm gonna butcher his last name, but
Yeah.
David Zaslav, who's the CEO,
Yep.
has completely did this wrong way. So they're upsetting fans. Fans of HBO Max are very upset. People are starting to
Yep.
cancel subscriptions. And before they even have the chance to merge the HBO Max and Discovery Plus platforms, they're probably entering at a negative because the perception right now
Yep.
is that they're making terrible mistakes. And a lot of people are really saying that the same reasons why they cut off television and cut the cord initially,
Yeah.
this streaming world is starting to do the same thing. So I could see a huge revolt against this. But go ahead, jump in.
No, Corey, you basically touch all of the main points. I mean, as first and foremost, as a fan of HBO Max. I am one of their most loyal subscribers. When I heard of the news that first and foremost that HBO was merging with Discovery Plus, and as well as its recent moves from the scripted side across TV and movies. Obviously, I cannot be any more upset. But I think what we're witnessing here is two things from a communication standpoint: the rollout and the execution of the announcement. Was absolutely an albatross. Uh, for some, for someone who is spearheading a major announcement, a major announcement of a seismic shift within their with their marketing and programming strategy. To see the reaction that it has gotten from fans the way that it has gotten, I think it's a pretty clear indicator of the popularity of HBO Max, and of course the vehement denial that Warner Brothers, from a business standpoint, is trying to relay. I think first and foremost, the senior executives over at Warner Brothers Discovery are by far making a huge mistake, a travesty. How can you eliminate one of your biggest revenue making machines? Uh, Obviously, HBO Max, given its rich plethora of scripted content, original content, is the main reason why HBO Max has become one of the most prominent and popular streaming platforms today. It has become so popular that it has given Netflix a run for its money. It has become a real legitimate contender in the streaming world. And to see, HBO Max shoot itself in the foot just because it wants to screw away from what it made it so popular in the in the first place, is something that it is mind-boggling to me. How can they drop? How can they drop the ball on this? I think also another point that we need to make out there, Corey, is the fact that they're shifting away from scripted content to unscripted content tells me that this is a typical business move, from the fact that that both Warner Brothers and Discovery are trying to save money. And so they're trying to cut back costs, production costs, and other relevant avenues, that helps them preserve the money. And so when you develop original scripted content, that costs money. And so obviously, perhaps maybe this is, Warner Brothers' way of trying to, again, preserve profits. And so if that means eliminating what has been their key clog in making money and going more for more unscripted, it tells you right there that there's going to be a lack of originality from a storytelling perspective. I, I
Yes, and I will just jumping in. I do kind of want to play devil's advocate a little bit and give the other side. So what HBO is doing, particularly with the Batgirl situation, is they're they're getting out of the streaming movies uh um window, streaming movies world, is a signal that they are fully invested back into full theatrical releases. So
yeah,
if we remember 2 years ago during the height of the pandemic, HBO was a first uh, big company to start saying, "Hey, we're going to start releasing movies online and on theaters on the same exact day." I
yeah,
know a lot of these cinema exhibitors revolted, say like this is unheard of, this is crazy, but they had initial success. There's a lot of movies that people saw, whether there's Batman or Wonder Woman 2, online at their homes versus going to theaters to seeing it. Now HBO has a signal that they actually want to do the opposite. They want to go full blown back into movies. They don't want people to be watching the streaming services of their latest movies because of, i.e., Space Jam. Same thing. Space Jam failed at the box office
mm-hmm,
because, according to HBO, was because they offered it online, not streaming.
mm-hmm,
That's definitely not the case. Space Jam was a terrible movie, but it's a conversation for another day.
mm-hmm,
But they're signaling they really want to have people go back to the box office because of they make more money when people are spending 15, 16, $17
mm-hmm,
to go to the movies versus when they're watching it streaming at home.
yeah,
And then two, you're like you just said, everything goes back to cost cutting. So, and it's so obvious. So
yeah,
instead of them saying that, we're cutting these scripted shows because it's too much money, it's too much investment. And we're going to focus on reality shows where we can spend a third of a cost and get the same amount of revenue coming forward. I'd rather them just be honest with that, as instead of just saying that they're looking at making efficiencies based off of performance. So I understand why they're making this changes, but to me, it's a transparency that's lacking, and I think it's something that their CEO is very short sighted in.
yeah. And with the writing was pretty much on the wall from the moment they said that they were going to start cost cutting scripted series. that's and start putting a bigger focus on the unscripted series. That's when I knew right there that the overall quality of the product was going to take a nosedive. And you did make some very clear points on the fact, Corey, that now post pandemic, with the with the changes in the market, and we're starting to see some sort of a renaissance over in the cinema exhibition industry. Perhaps maybe movie studios such as Warner Brothers are realizing that in order for them to maximize the profits, and of course to get people back, back into into the movie theaters, this is the way to do it. And so perhaps obviously the biggest winners, potentially out of all this, are the movie theaters, are the cinema exhibitors. But I think
Yes.
also, just to wrap up, my point as well. If you look at the statistics, if you look at the statistics from a demographic standpoint, the scripted series, mostly everything that you see like on HBO Max, has been skewed more towards male audiences,
Yep.
whereas the unscripted series, like the reality shows, and so
90
forth,
Day Fiancés and the
yeah,
Property Brothers. Correct.
yeah, they're more on the female side. So I think it's again, it's kind of intriguing the fact that they're merging these two products, into one to basically, subsidize everything and to keep everything all in one division. Uh, but but either way, the fact of the matter is that the execution of the announcement was piss poor. The business ramifications were understandable as to why they do it, as to why they did it. But I think if you get a clear measurement as to what is happening overall in the industry, are we starting to see a backlash? Are we starting to see streaming services obviously now increasing their prices? Also, Netflix just they've over the last several months announced another price hike. Um,
And in relation to an ad business, so Netflix will get into the advertising,
Absolutely.
versus something they said previously that they will never do.
Yep, exactly. And so now we're starting to see, again, moves that for many general audiences, there was a reason why they were cutting the cable. And so now we're starting to see some of these streaming services starting to adapt those cable established mentalities. Is that going to affect, their bottom lines at the end of the day? Is something that, that is left to be seen.
Yes, and I'll to wrap up my point, I would say just on the back of the Netflix thing, um, HBO Max slash Discovery Plus, they will be building a massive ad business. So
Mm-hmm.
trust me, you're gonna start seeing different tiers where with commercials included and pricing and don't think that another reason why they're getting rid of some of this premium unscripted content is because a lot of the content doesn't really translation well to having ad breaks in the middle of them, but also it's some of these big producers or some of these big um, um, actors uh, don't necessarily want to be in an environment where there's kind of TV like where it's 10 minutes of content commercial, 10 minutes of content commercial, and I definitely feel like and I don't feel like I know a year from now, mark my words, everyone comes back to Intermission series number 3 next summer when I say that. Uh, their HBO Max will have a huge advertising business, which should help subsidize some of their revenue. It's going to grow them, and I do think possibility, even though the rollout is piss poor, if there's not a huge revolt, they do have a possibility of making strides and going higher than what Disney Plus has done.
Yeah, if they some way be able to maintain their core scripted content creativity, then fans are going to be able to swallow the bullet and be able to stay with them long term. Again, it comes down to the quality of the content that they're putting out there that keeps audiences tuning in every day, weekly, whatever it is, and as well as the financial aspects. Warner Brothers and Discovery subsidizing all of their financial avenues to maximize profit. And that's what it comes, and that's what it's going to come down to in terms of in terms of pricing, as we're seeing throughout streaming services with the rise and the solidification of advertisement across their platforms, and obviously pricing tiers. That is also something that general audiences are very much going to keep an eye on as they ultimately decide as to whether or not they want to keep their streaming services on their respective platforms.
Yes. So with that, that brings us to the end of episode 5 of the intermission series. Uh, I hope that you guys all enjoy this conversation. But if you have any thoughts, any feedback, or just want to rebut anything that we've said, please reach out to us. It's Marketer Pitch on all social medias. Please send us an email at marketerpitch@gmail.com. We're just excited to continue the series and just excited to continue the conversation, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. So definitely continue to engage with us. And Yesenia, any final words before we wrap up?
Well, I just want to say thank you to the entire Marketer Pitch family for tuning in to episode 5, another important interactive conversation. We definitely want to hear from you, so please reach out across our respective mediums. Follow and subscribe the Intermission series exclusively on YouTube and Spotify, and very much looking forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks' time for the Intermission series finale, episode 6. And we also have some major announcements to make regarding the general podcast Marketer Pitch, so don't miss it. This is one that is certainly going to make our entire Marketer Pitch family very, very happy.
I'm so excited, and yeah, it should be very big news. And look for more information online. But other than that, I just wanted to tell everyone just thank you again for listening. Thank you for your continued support and partnerships with us, and continue this journey with us. And everyone, please continue to have a safe, blessed, and enjoy summer. And I look forward to speaking with you on the next episode.
Till then, everyone, thank you so much.
Bye.